Hello, it's Kavan from Before Our Friends Die here, and before we get stuck into the House Renovations episode, I just wanted to touch on something that I spoke with the guests about after we wrapped up. So, throughout the episode, you'll notice that there are a few instances where they mention, being able to live with family or getting support from family who are builders. Now, we do note at the end that there's a lot of luck involved in that sort of scenario. But actually, when we wrapped recording, the guest spoke to Rochelle and I, and they said, actually, they wish they mentioned the sort of privilege that is involved in being able to do such things. Not everyone can live with family while their house is being renovated. And I thought it was a really interesting point, actually. And with that in the back of your mind, listen to the episode. They offer some really, really important tips, actually. But I think it's important to let you guys know that they are, aware and humble enough to realise that actually this isn't a replicable situation for everyone, but it is something that we can all learn from in terms of taking a risk and sort of getting stuck into things, even sometimes when they seem challenging. And also, if you've got a support network, use it, tap into it. So yeah, without further ado, check out the episode. Let us know what you think. As always, get in touch at akhi&saltfish on Instagram, Twitter, and all social media. And yeah, I hope you enjoy. Yo, I'm Kavam.
Yo, I'm Rash.
And welcome to the Before Our Friends Die podcast on the akhi&saltfish digital network. This is the platform where we have the conversations we want to have before we leave this planet.
With that in mind, let's go.
Let's go. So, Rochelle.
What are you saying, Kavan, man?
I'm all good, man. We are joined this week by two very, very special guests. My brother, Jerome.
Hi, guys.
And his fiance. His fiance, Evie. And you two are here basically because you renovated one property. You're on your way to renovating another. And Rochelle and I have a few questions about that process. Eventually, we're going to talk about how we both bought our first properties, and it was a very different route to how you guys got yours.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to sort of shed light on what the options are when you buy property and hopefully inspire some of the listeners to take the route that you did, the hard route, really. So renovating two properties from literally scratch.
Yeah.
Was it always the plan?
So, I mean, for me, it wasn't always the plan. We've kind of come from different backgrounds. So Evie's dad has got his building company. So, she's been around properties getting redeveloped and seeing her dad build things from absolutely nothing. I was, more happy to just go into somewhere where it's just done. I don't have to do any work. I could just move in, and just kind of just chill out really. But I think it took a bit of convincing to go for a big project. So to start with, it wasn't always my kind of dream idea, but yeah, I kind of come around to the idea pretty quickly.
What was you nervous about initially?
Really, it was having to pay the mortgage whilst you're still living at home with your parents and things like that. So, you kind of, you feel like you cross that line when you sign the papers, you get the keys.
Stress.
But that's literally, for us, that was like literally just the starting point. We didn't move in for a while whilst we were renovating the property. So it was a case of, still staying at home with parents whilst we got that
I forgot you did that actually.
Yeah.
Is that the first one or the one you've got now? Or
both. To be honest. Yeah.
Okay.
So the first one, we kind of got the keys. We had the keys for about a year before we actually moved in.
Did you?
Yeah, that's how
No
long
way.
the process.
Wait, and how long did you keep it for?
No.
Because I remember Kavan telling me, my brother's doing renovations,
Yeah.
and then next thing you know, I know he sold it and he's got another house. Yeah, it was so
No,
quick.
I think we'd probably lived there about a year and a half.
No way.
Yeah, so
It was a lovely house.
quick turnaround, quick move, on to the next one.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So, Evie, was it always your dream to sort of get a house from scratch and make it your own from the get-go?
I think if you asked me back then, I'd have said no. I don't know whether I went for a house knowing that that's what I wanted. It was more, we were looking for our first property, the budget at the time of what we could afford. And obviously, like Jerome's explained, due to my family's background, they have a different eye to things than I do.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was looking at properties, they were having the conversations with me of, you could do X, Y, and Z. Whereas I think if I hadn't got that, I would have never have gone for a property like that.
It's brave, isn't it?
So I don't know whether it's necessarily been a dream. It's just something that's there, and obviously with my parents doing that all the time, they've got a different eye for things, and it's just now I would say it's a dream of mine to continue and build, you know, the property, and hopefully have more than one day.
So actually, you're seeing what's possible, and for you, it literally is possible because your parents do it day in, day out. So then you bought a property based on that. That's interesting. Because for me, I mean, listen, I put up the the washing line outside, and that was a whole rigmarole in itself. I've never seen anyone put a washing line out before, and I don't think I'll do it again. I'll pay someone to do it for me. But yeah, it's interesting actually. Let's talk numbers then. What was the first property in the first one? What did you pay for that, roughly?
So I think it was 178 we got it for. I think it was up for 180. So, you know, small discount as you usually get.
You did all right because you barely can get any discount nowadays.
Yeah.
Really? I thought you could knock off about 10 grand.
No,
No.
I got lucky as well. I got like 3K off.
Yeah.
But
not for properties in that
it's a myth.
price margin. If
Really?
you go higher up, there's
You
less
can get
people,
money off.
you know, there's less people wanting that property, whereas that sort of price range now is everywhere, so you're going to have so many competitors wanting the same property.
Wow.
So
Yeah, you did all right then.
some people have to go above. My brother's property, he put an offer in more than
What?
what it was up for to get it, because, you know, that competition, you want the property.
And right now the market's crazy.
Oh, it's insane. Yeah.
It's crazy.
So you got it for 178,
Mm-hmm.
and what was the condition of the property?
So
Disgusting.
Could you have
Was
lived
it?
in
Oh
it?
my
Could you have
God.
lived in it at that
Not
point?
a
No.
chance. No.
Was
no.
it like a old person's house or?
So it was. I wouldn't say he was too old. He was maybe 60s, 60s,
50s,
50,
60s.
maybe 50s ago.
A paramedic.
Yeah. So you'd think, oh yeah, paramedic is gonna be clean, sterile. No. Walked into the house.
Cat.
He had an indoor cat, which obviously didn't go outdoors, nothing. And there was just hair everywhere. There was certain areas of the house that, you know, stunk of cat urine.
Oh.
Because they piss, it's all right.
Boxes just everywhere.
Yeah.
The garden, we didn't actually know the size of it at all because it was just so overgrown. Like our
Had
first
no
job
clue.
pretty much was knocking down or pulling out X amount of trees. Just
I
to
don't know how
even see
people
the
live like
fence.
that.
Yeah, crazy. So to answer your question, no, couldn't move into it at all. The kitchen was also disgusting. That needed to be ripped out. Grease everywhere. But
So Evie, what's the first move? You invite Dad around and you say, what the hell can we do with this? Or was that before you bought it?
Before.
Yeah.
Yeah, so any property we've looked at, even now, it's been a case of here it is on Rightmove, have a look, is it worth it?
Check the floor plan.
Let's go and have a look. Check the floor plan, and then we've always took my dad and brother with us, one or the other or both, to look at our properties. So I think that house, I was in America when it came on the market, so it was kind of a case of Dad and Ross, can you get us a viewing? I can't even remember. Maybe they went to view it before us. And then by the time I pretty much landed, the house was ours, and you know.
I mean, I think it's important to say at this point as well. You just mentioned Dad and Ross. Was it Malpass Property Services is the company, right?
Yeah.
And these guys, if you follow them on Instagram or wherever it is online, these guys do amazing work. They create dreams and renovate houses. So shout out to MPS. Quick little plug there. Okay, so what sort of level of work did you have to do, right? So you're ripping out the walls, are you rebuilding walls, are you extending this property? What are you doing to this property, this first one?
So we obviously went in there, stripped everything, talking carpets, there was wallpaper everywhere.
Yeah.
So stripped all the carpets, wallpaper, old curtains and stuff.
I think I helped you with the kitchen, and I think I put my foot through a few walls and things like that.
I remember I called you, and you were like,
Yeah.
I'm just breaking a wall.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had an idea of the kind of walls we wanted to take out. So it wasn't open plan to begin with. You know, it had kind of a separate kitchen, separate lounge. So when we wanted to make that kind of have an open plan feel to the house, so we knew what kind of walls we needed to take down. So first
And
couple of
build.
things, and build, yeah.
It was an odd shaped downstairs layout. It was almost like an L shape where there was just, the man had wasted space. It was just full of boxes. The room wasn't used. So we like blocked one wall up, but then knocked another down to open the kitchen, diner, living room.
So yeah, we kind of had an idea from, you know, her dad and Ross on what kind of walls we can take down without too much assistance. You know, you don't want to go and knock through some pipe work or electric. So got that advice. Started just taking the place apart, and and yeah, that was pretty much how we started it.
Whilst doing that though, knocking walls down, the electrics blew, didn't they? So that led to another lead of problems where we had to
forgot about that.
Who did that?
my brother. But
Wait, he's the builder.
Just for the record, that was a one-off. Okay, MPS are very professional.
no, it was fault with the electrics, nothing to do with.
Right.
Yeah, the whole house needed rewiring, so it wasn't a case that you just knocked the wall down and he caused fault. The whole house, rewired.
Is that a big job then?
Yeah.
For wiring?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
You've got to have all the ceilings up or down, whichever way you do it. Floorboards up or ceilings down.
Wow.
Get into all the walls, all the ceilings.
Did you guys have a plan?
Or were you just
doing it?
We kind of knew what we needed to do. So we needed to obviously strip it, get new electrics in. So start things like pulling the ceilings downstairs. That took me quite a few evenings with a hammer and a hoodie and dust mask on. It's disgusting. But we kind of knew what we needed to get done. And it was kind of a case of working around her dad and brother's schedule. When they were free to come and help us with some of the stuff that we just couldn't do. We don't have the skills to do. So we were just kind of chipping away at the little things that we could do ourselves.
So all in all, you got a property you wanted that was your own.
Mm-hmm.
How much did that roughly cost you?
So it
from shithole to home.
I think it was around maybe 20,
30. But bearing in mind we paid no labour.
Yeah.
So we were lucky enough to have work done for us for
Smashed it.
free.
So how much would it have cost you as well? So how much did it cost you and how much would it have cost you?
I don't know.
Jesus.
We
That's not bad.
Yeah, we got really lucky that we've got help in the family.
No wonder she's your fiance, Jerome.
Smart guy.
No, wicked. So, okay, obviously, this is none of your dreams, really, but actually, you ended up living it.
Yeah.
What would you change looking back? What mistakes did you make? Did you plan for the electrics, for instance? Was that in your head when that could be a possibility or not? Like, what sort of things did you...
I don't think things like that are mistakes. I think things like that are the unseen. So whenever you buy any property, you'll never know until you move in there and start renovating what actually the property needs.
Okay.
Obviously, you have your house surveyed, and the mortgage advisors tell you we've been to look at a house before, and the whole downstairs was unstable, and you'd need to restructure the whole house.
Wow.
But
I had that issue once. Yeah.
without all of that going through, you would never know. So I think I wouldn't say that's a mistake. That's just hidden behind closed doors. Things that you'll find along the way. I wouldn't change anything.
I think for me, possibly that was a really big project. As I said, it took us about a year of living, staying at home with parents before we could move into that one. I mean, we kind of moved on to our second one, and we didn't have to stay with parents for that long. It was I think it was about 3 or 4 months the second time.
Was it harder the second time? Just out of interest. So bear in mind you've lived in with parents. You've then moved into the property you made, and now you're doing it again. Like, is it harder the second time, or is it easier the second time because you've already done it?
I'd say harder because the first time we didn't live together. So doing that project up, we both lived separately.
It's fun and games, isn't it?
So the second time it was, going from your house in your own space, your own kitchen, your own bathroom, your own bedroom, your own spare bedroom, to back to parents in one bedroom. So that was more difficult.
Yeah,
but
that was a challenge.
I think it was easier in that whilst we were renovating, we had the comfort of your mum cooking and doing your washing, and it was helpful. But yeah, I'd definitely say more tricky the second time.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're older, I think. Did it the first time round, I was only 21.
Yeah, 21 when we
Maybe.
got the
And then,
keys.
going to doing that again when you're 25, trickier.
So this first home, I'm intrigued as well, because from what I remember, the conversations around the time was, this is going to be a home for a long period of time for us. Now, as it happened, that wasn't the case, but that's not the point. The point is, when you're making these furnishing and design choices, did it ever cross your mind that we could make this a rental property, or we could sell it on, or was this, I'm going to get it like this because I'm going to live here for a long time and this is how I want it?
It was definitely a case of, we because we had the luxury of pulling everything out and doing it from scratch. We wanted somewhere where we felt comfortable living. It was never a case of, oh, if we rent this out in the future, you know, this could be used for X, Y, Z. We wanted a place where we could be comfortable. So yeah, it was very much in our minds that we're going to live here, and yeah, it's all going to be to our spec. As you,
yeah, it was just for us. We didn't at the time have any long-term goals. But yeah, I would say when we came to selling it, it was a case of, should we sell it? Should we rent it out and keep it? So at the beginning, no. Afterwards, yes.
So you said an interesting thing earlier about, you know, you'd not lived together previously. So I'm wondering, did this process cause any arguments? Did it make you realise anything about each other? Like, for instance, you know, realising someone's taste can really, really put you off. Like, you know, grey, a little bit more grey, extra grey.
The only thing I put my foot down on was crushed velvet. I really don't like crushed velvet, and
it was in back then.
Yeah, it was really fashionable. And Evie like saw this crushed velvet sofa and was like, "Oh yeah, we'll get this and a crushed velvet bed." And I was like, "No, I'm sorry,
It's a little bit tacky.
I'm sorry, I can't do that." But I mean, I'm pretty laid back. Otherwise, I was quite happy to let Evie take the lead in terms of, you know, what kind of furnishings we had. Yeah, as long as it's all comfortable.
I think that could have caused a lot of arguments. Yeah. Luckily, I do like things a very particular way. Very grey, very plain, very boring.
You like my sofa?
That's in though. I've got this exact sofa.
Yeah.
I like it.
Did you get 2 for 1?
Yeah.
And it was easy for Jerome to be, you know, I think you had the things that Jerome really wanted. Jerome obviously put his foot down and got, which is fair enough, because I pretty much furnished, I did furnish 80 to 90% of the house. Yeah. But the back door, the front door were key things.
And chose
Jerome
doors.
chose.
If a man's going to kick in my door, I want it to look like this.
And yeah, the sofa. I think that's about it.
Pretty much, yeah.
So,
You chose the sofa?
Well, he chose the sofa that I wasn't allowed, so that was just
right.
You can have that.
Well, I'll tell you what. If I'm looking back on the house, 2 things stand out to me. Well, 3 things actually. One of them isn't in the house, but it should have been, in my opinion. And the 2 are really good, and they're in the house.
Is it your red wall or your fridge?
So first of all, it was a pop wall. You know, some sort of pop on a wall. I don't know what it is. A massive clock or artwork or something that just
a bike.
Yeah, a bike. Yeah. Stay tuned. That breaks up the room a little bit. But 2 great things that you did was the doors, the bifold doors. Amazing job opening up the back wall and making it a set of doors. And there was a lamp that hung down from the kitchen ceiling. That was really nice. Those are great things that I admired about that house. And, you know, it was a brilliant first house, I think. You know, really modern, end of terrace as well, or you call it end of terrace? It's end of like... Semi-detached end of street, whatever you want to call it. Really nice location as well.
I think looking back, personally, I think we did really well because obviously we did it all on a budget. I bought the house when I hadn't even got a job. I'd just finished uni. I was lucky enough to have savings that I'd saved up that should have been my maintenance loan at uni and stuff, and I obviously stayed at home, so saved it. So when we first got the property, everything that we was doing was me with my, you know, wage as we went along, and obviously your savings went straight to the deposit as well. So all the furnishing wise was kind of on budget, that just happened to luckily all piece together.
So the next question we've got then is about finances. So Rochelle, I think you want to take this one over.
Yeah, so I was going to say, how long did it take you to find the property itself? Just go back a little bit.
So yeah, that was, I'd probably say all in all, it was months. Probably even. So this is in terms of doing so before we even have the deposit saved up.
Yeah.
Market research, looking at what's out there, what kind of prices houses are selling for, what kind of, you know, areas we want to live in. It was months and months of looking on Rightmove every day at new properties coming up.
So June, July, found it in October. But funnily enough, we were on our way back from Poole, I want to say, and a property came up. At this point, Jerome was keen to, you know, obviously Jerome had finished uni. He was a lot, you know, further ahead, if you like, in his career and life and whatever. I obviously wasn't at the time, didn't think I was ready.
Yeah.
And we were on our way back, and you looked on Rightmove, and we found it's like an old shop that you could have converted back into a house for like $100,000. And that was the point where we were like, let's go, let's find the house. We wanted, that one went, didn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
But we were like, let's just keep looking, and then I think that just spurred our interest to get it done quicker than I think either of us anticipated. But yeah,
I think it was months of looking, but we probably at that point didn't think we had enough savings to actually get the house.
Yeah.
But after we had conversations with a mortgage broker, discussed what kind of deposits we can put down, and he kind of really helped us along the way.
Did you go to a broker before you went to a bank, or was it bank then broker, or did you know already?
So I had a look online, like you just check Nationwide website or whatever, or Barclays, wherever you want to look.
Yeah.
And you can see the rates, what sort of deposit they'll let you put down to buy a property. So we kind of had a little look, but I think the luxury with the broker is they've got.
I don't know how they do it. They always get more.
They always find you the best deal. They've got so many different
Illuminati.
so many different lenders that they've got access to. And they can kind of find you the best rates. So yeah, it worked out well for us.
And then how long did it take to complete on the house? How long? So when you put your offer in, and then when did you actually get the keys?
I don't think actually we got the keys until October, so we must have got it before that.
Yeah, we got the keys in October.
Couple of months. Definitely wasn't as long as the second one's taken.
No, I think it was just around 2 months.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah,
that's really good. I'm guessing there was no chain.
No, well,
I think it was us, the guy that we brought it off, and then he brought an empty house.
yeah.
Oh, that's not bad. You guys got really lucky.
A lot of that weight was the guy that we brought the house off actually hadn't found a property, so a lot of that weight was also him finding, his next home.
So I'm intrigued. Yeah. So you get a mortgage in principle for whatever amount. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I take it the house 178 was less than what you got the mortgage in principle for.
I think we based it on that house.
Yeah. I think we got our mortgage in principle
because it only
once we found that.
Weeks,
once we found that property.
So how are you financing the build?
It was to get it all paid for. It was mostly a case of paying as we go along. So every month we'd have a spare £500,
right,
put that into the house. So obviously most of our savings, as I just said, we didn't think we could afford a house. So pretty much all of that savings went into the deposit and all the legal fees, or broker fees, all that kind of thing. So yeah, we were pretty much just as we were going along, not even saving, just spending everything we could on the property to get it done.
That's
good.
good.
The big bumps in the road are your kitchen,
bathroom,
doors.
Yeah,
but until we got to that point, which was obviously very near the end, we were fine. But yeah, kitchens are a big old fund.
Well, I'll tell you. Okay, just out of interest, how much is a kitchen? I've never bought a kitchen in my life, so how much is a kitchen roughly?
Well,
depends
I'd
what
say
you want.
You can spend
thousands.
Yeah, you can spend probably $100,000 on a kitchen if you really wanted.
Yeah.
But I think standard price 15,000-20,000 is a
What?
regular price for a decent kitchen.
20 grand for a kitchen.
But we got a budget one, I think. So we spent about was it 6 that we spent? And then our appliances, maybe it was about.
Yeah, we got the kitchen we wanted, but you have to take into account different cupboards are different costs, different ovens are different costs.
These guys are just trying to rob you, man.
Oh, you want the cupboards with the handles?
Yeah. So we actually went somewhere once, just off chance, in Milton Keynes, Wren Kitchens.
Not sponsored.
And just we didn't have them in the end. But we just went there for curiosity. I think they'd quoted us for the kitchen we got in the end at 22,000, something like that.
22,000.
So we took that plan because we liked the plan to another company, which we went with Howden's in the end, and just tweaked things, and it just made a massive difference.
Life hack for you there. If you want a kitchen that's 22 grand, take the plan and take it to Howden's or other suppliers, and you can get it for cheaper. Don't tell us we never told you anything.
Did you guys go over budget then, or did you have a set budget in mind before?
So I think we wanted to. We said we'll try and aim to spend about 10 or 15 grand, and we pretty much doubled that. It was
what, the whole project?
The whole sorry, for the kitchen budget.
The whole project, and
the
then the
whole
kitchen,
project.
because it sounds like the kitchen was half the budget. Most of it, yeah.
Well, we said we can get a kitchen for. We initially wanted to spend was about 5-ish grand on a kitchen. And then other things to get the whole property up to scratch. We said 15, 20 grand maybe. But yeah, as you said, the kitchen, very expensive.
Things like doors, thousands for doors.
What?
Doors?
Yeah, front door.
Front and
Oh,
back.
Grand.
yes, mine.
What?
Yeah. Front
£1,000
door.
for front door.
Grand, yeah.
£2,000 for front door.
Well, I don't know. I won't say I'd whispered, but yeah, it was like 2. Yeah, it
Our
was 2.
bifold doors
Yeah.
at the back were £2,000.
Yeah, but I can expect
Yeah,
that
yeah,
by a front door.
Yeah, my front door was 2.
What's that? Some anti-tank door or something?
You know, I don't know, man. It's got a little bit of glass on the side.
Wow.
It was like up for like 3.5. But I did the same thing. I took the plan and went somewhere else. And I got it for 2.
I'm really missing a trick. I mean, Evie, one thing that I remember from you around the time is before this house was even a thing, and obviously you guys were waiting for a year, right? You were buying things as you went along, and you had some sort of it's not called an itinerary. It's called a
Bottom drawer.
a bottom drawer. She had a
That's what
storage
people-
unit
that's what people
basically
call it.
full of stuff.
That drawer was just random stuff in it.
Not literally a drawer.
I think like my mum used to call it, when I don't know whether it's an old generation saying, you'd have your bottom drawer, where I guess it was different back then because you used to get married, then you'd have your first property, but you collect things
that a
as you
dig?
go along. So,
Was that a dig?
absolutely not.
No, I'm joking.
Very happy with my ring. No, so I just brought as I went along. So I was going to like the next sales with my mum, or if I saw something there and then I was buying cutlery, cushions, bedding.
Okay.
There's things like that. Again, when you go to move in a house, it's a lot to buy to live
In
that
one
you don't
time, yeah.
actually realise. So yeah, I was quite savvy, and I had a very large bottom drawer that actually ended up being my brother's old bedroom at my parents' house.
But one thing that I've realised, and I'm literally building a office / man cave, / podcast studio where you're hearing this being recorded right now. As time has gone on and I've waited, I've realised, actually, I don't want to do that. Actually, I can do without that. Actually, I can sacrifice this because I've waited and I've sort of just, I've done without it so I can do without it sort of thing.
Yeah.
I'm wondering for you guys as well, waiting a whole year, did you go in there with this is, I don't mean to be rude, but delusions of grandeur, right? You know, gold-plated plug sockets and all of this. And then you think, actually, you know what? It's not that deep. Let's just mellow down our expectations a little bit and go for what works. Was that any of your thought processes as time went on?
I think for that house, for me, it wasn't a case of expectations. It was more, what can we do on our budget to get this looking how we want to get it?
Okay.
I think project number 2, I might have to bear that in mind because we're in a different position and
Big budget.
no.
You want to roll with the big boss?
And yeah, it's a home that I potentially won't be moving from, so it's more long term. Whereas the first,
Is this your forever home?
I mean, it could well be, yeah.
yeah,
Let's get into that then. So we was going to ask you, would you do it again? But obviously you're doing it again. You're doing it again. So has your approach to this second property, has it changed since the first property? Are there any things that you're looking out for, or any things you're considering more than you weren't previously?
I think the downstairs layout is something we've kind of really thought about this time, because where I said we had kind of the open plan kitchen, living room, diner. I mean, it was lovely, great, and sociable, but we didn't, because obviously working from home kind of came in. I had a separate room downstairs, which was my office. So we didn't really have that kind of, small, enclosed, cozy area where you could have like, intimate, family meetings or people around for a cup of tea.
Yeah.
So we made sure we've kind of, in our plans, we've got a separate living room downstairs for just that kind of that social. It's not like that kind of whilst it's still open plan, we do have a separate area where we can kind of have a sofa and
Nice.
sit down. So that was kind of one thing I think we thought about this time around.
I'll tell you one thing as well, actually. I remember in your old property, because it was open plan, I worked from your house once and the washing machine was on. Loud.
Yeah. Things like that. So you
Yeah.
can washing
cooking,
machine,
you sat and you can still
Never
smell
considered
your dinner.
that before.
your
in your
dishwasher's
living-
on, and
yeah.
it's
It just didn't have a cozy feel about it. Like you say, it was very easy to host. Like if we ever had friends round, family round, I could be cooking dinner whilst talking to you whilst you're watching telly. Like that was nice. However, having the girls round with a glass of wine or whatever, it's not like that cozy, warm feeling on a Friday night. It was quite a cold room.
yeah.
The radiators didn't heat it up. Like it literally was cold.
Can I jump back? You didn't just get the second property for the hell of it, did you? Obviously, the pandemic, working from home, all that played a role in it, yeah? That's fair to say. The stamp duty thing that the government did, taking away stamp duty, was the real clincher for you guys saying, okay, we're going to go for the second property,
Yeah.
or we're going to go for another property rather than a second property. That's a bit misleading, isn't it? But yeah, you're going to go for another property.
Yeah. So I mean, as you just said, the pandemic came around. Everyone started working from home, and the housing market, I think, was slowing down a little bit. So the government decided to try and speed that up and basically, remove the stamp duty cost for a lot of people.
What is that? What is stamp duty?
So stamp duty is a tax you have to pay when you buy a property above a certain price.
Yeah.
And yeah, it could be a couple of £1,000, £5,000, but once you get to the more expensive properties, some people are paying 15, 20 grand on stamp duty.
I think it's like 2% or 3% after 300k,
about
something like
3,
that.
Yeah.
After
Yeah,
300k.
that's about right. Yeah.
And it's normally like removed anyway for first time buyers, but the pandemic meant that people that weren't first time buyers got it removed as well.
Everybody
So straight away in
Yeah.
our head we were like, right, well, we're going to save thousands from moving if we hold out for a year or two. That's another payment that we're going to be, because we were thinking about saving, weren't we?
Yeah.
We would be saving for a year or two, and our savings would literally go to stamp duty. So
Yeah.
what was the point?
How hard was it to let go of that property, that baby?
Easy for me because of circumstances in the end.
Yeah, I think for me, it's like, that first step onto the property ladder, it's kind of sentimental. It was Kingsthorpe, which I was quite familiar with. I went to school in the area. It was pretty close to everything I needed to be close to, the gym, work. And yeah, I think it was, when I first thought about selling it, it was, I guess it was kind of like, right, I'm going to actually have to let go of this property. I've spent so much time. I spent, sacrificed a year living at home and saving and all that to try and get this into a place, and I'm moving out of it in 18 months. But I think it was. We quickly, once we found the new property, we quickly,
But
we're happy. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Quite happy with the move.
Did you think it was a big risk doing it during COVID? Buying the house?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, it's at that point, it was pretty much doom and gloom. Everyone thought house prices were going to crash, and it just wasn't going to, it wasn't going to kind of stay high. But I think obviously you've got to take risks in life. We were quite happy to, sell the property for the price that estate agents told us we could get for it, and. Yeah, I think if we hadn't have moved that at that time, looking back, we would have been spending an extra 30, 40, 50 grand on a property to buy it for a similar one.
Who's got the bigger appetite for risk out of the two of you?
Me.
You think so?
From Jerome. I've got it from Jerome. When we first got together, Jerome was very keen on going backpacking. Sounds silly, but I was like, I'm used to going on holiday, staying in one hotel with my suitcase. And Jerome, inspired me to take risks. But I think property-wise, Jerome was quite comfortable at staying at property number one. I'd say in that circumstance, I was the one pushing for the risk.
So Evie heard backpacking and was like, hell no. Okay, so you got the bigger appetite for risk, and so was you sort of the catalyst behind? Let's just sell this and go for what we really want now. The opportunity's here.
I'd say 99% it was me.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, I was quite happy to stay there for another 5 years or so. I thought it was big enough for our little 2-person family unit at the moment, and quite happy to stay there for a few more years. But Evie was I guess pushing to move to that forever home just a few years before we actually needed it.
Who found it? Who found the property?
I think this is an interesting one.
Oh no, you did.
I found this property, but we eventually we found one place which was pretty much the ideal thing we were looking for. Had a lovely garden, great space, potential to extend. But I mean, we went for it. We were quite happy to go for it. But the only issue was it just wasn't in the right area. So it's kind of like a perfect house, wrong location, but you know, we decided to go for it anyway.
I think both of us decided that we didn't want to live there. Again, took my dad and brother, and they just see potential. So it was, you could do this, 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 and this. We got lost in the house and not where we were going to be living.
Yeah.
And then I was stressed about living in that particular place, didn't want to live there. And then Jerome sent me the link to the one that we've got now. It was in a location we did want, and I was like, oh, don't send me this, like we can't do anything about it. Whereas at the time, actually, we'd only put an offer in, which basically means they say yes to your price, the process starts. Nothing was in writing, nothing had been signed. So we went to look at the house we're in now. Jerome found it, and yeah, the rest is history.
Wicked. Right, so we're going to ask you a few more questions. We've got a few more, but if you're enjoying listening to this Before Our Friends Die episode, please don't forget to subscribe to the akhi&saltfish digital network. You'll be able to find more episodes Before Our Friends Die, as well as our other podcasts, including Cool, Fine, Done, Wicked about music, and Sofa Senseis about the fight world. And don't forget, if you need to get in touch with us, please email akhi&saltfish@gmail.com. So without further ado, Jerome and Evie, was this process worth it? I mean, you're doing it again, so I guess we can probably answer the question for you, but was it worth it financially in terms of your time and the time that you spent waiting and planning and all that sort of stuff, and stress? Was it worth it?
For me, yeah, I think definitely. It was, you know, we had to stay at home with parents a little longer than we wanted to. But, you know, in terms of getting, you know, your first property exactly how you want it to be, you know, spending on a budget that you can afford, it was an absolute no-brainer. As you said, still doing it again, so yeah, I'd definitely recommend that.
I'd say, funnily, the stress for me, the main stress was actually moving. So the renovation of the first property, the renovation of the second property hasn't been stressful yet, touch wood. But the stressful part for me was the actual transition of moving from house 1 to house 2, because you've got, you know, the risk of the chain falling through. Our house was probate, which basically means somebody's died and you have to wait for that property to legally be somebody else's in the family in order for them to sell it.
Yeah.
And it was a constant battle of, is our house going through with probate? Are we going to lose our current buyers of our house? That was a quite stressful, the
chain is the worst thing
time.
buying the house, I think.
Yeah.
It's stressful. Mine fell through a few times. It's not the one. But what skills are you taking over? Obviously, you've gained experience of renovating in this house. What skills are you moving over to the new house?
So I think it's having that kind of eye for what needs to be done now. So, you know, going into that first house, it was you know, we were blind to it pretty much. We were led by her dad and brother, who knew exactly what they were doing. But yeah, I think now it's nice to be able to go in. They of course they still know more than us, but it's nice to be able to go into a house and think, okay, so now we need to do this. This is going to cost approximately a couple thousand or whatever it is. You know, we've got kind of a little view of what things need to be done.
As on that price thing, as Ross and Dale ever said, yesterday's price is not today's price.
Well, I think they're having to say that kind of stuff now. I don't know if you know about the materials costs of
I do.
Buildings.
Yeah.
It took me 2 months to get bricks.
Yeah,
it took me 2 months to get bricks. Man.
Yeah, so everything's going up. Low stock in terms of bricks and things. Yeah. So of course they're having to readjust their pricing.
Yeah.
What
after you?
I was going to say, what you're doing different? You know, you had the open plan at this house.
Yeah.
Is it going to be less open? Is it going to have separate dining, or what's the plan there?
So I think because we've got a bigger space this time around, we've got the luxury of having another. So it's still kind of open plan, open. It's like an open diner, kitchen, and there'll be a seating area. But we've got the luxury of having a bit more space to put an enclosed living room in there for the more cozy moments.
Nice. Last 3 questions. So, could you do this as your full-time job, Evie?
Love to.
Really? Nice.
Yeah, if I had the money to buy properties and, enable my brother and dad to have that as their business instead of doing other people's work, to actually have it as something I could contribute and have as our business, I'd absolutely stop my job in a heartbeat.
Well, look, I mean, the Akhi and Saltfish Digital Network is happy to give you an internship in designing a podcast studio for them, for us. So by all means, we'll get in touch after this and we'll see what we can arrange. Jerome, could you do it as your full-time job?
Definitely, yeah. I just think it's kind of an exciting journey when you see a property beginning. You start the renovation, you see the progress, and then you see the final product. It's kind of, I guess I don't know what word to put on it, but it's really
rewarding.
Rewarding. Yeah, I think that's an apt word. Yeah. Really a kind of a rewarding process, which makes you feel great.
Ashel, could you do it as your full-time job, just out of interest?
That's the plan.
Look, guys, we all want to do it as a full-time job. Why don't we actually sit down and figure this out? Like, I met a colleague the other day, and he's just finished his plumbing course so that he can retire early, buy properties, and then be the plumber for the properties. Like, if I become a plumber, you become a carpenter, Jerome builder, Evie interior design. That's a bit sexist, isn't it? I mean, you could do what you want, Evie, by the way, just for the record. But I was just thinking about the skills that we lack.
An electrician.
You can be an electrician, Evie. Why don't we actually do this? Coming soon, episode 2. But let's think about it.
The funds at the moment.
Yeah.
It's the funds. Literally, the only thing that's stopping anything is funds.
Money makes money.
Exactly.
Money makes money.
That's how rich stay rich.
What's the best memory of this you guys have? Either house, either process.
So for me, there's definitely one thing that stands out, and that was my nephew Maxwell coming round to view the property when it was being renovated. And I remember him, this was when walls were torn down, there was holes everywhere, wires hanging out the place.
Yeah.
Safe, of course. Maxwell came around, and I've got a video of him pointing out things like, oh, there's a hole there, you need to fix this, you need to build a wall there, put radios there,
proper surveyor.
I'm sure we would love looking back on that in a few years, but that's definitely one thing that stands out.
Shout out Maxwell. Evie, best memory?
I don't think I could put... I think the whole thing is a memory for me. I think the achievement of... To be fair, actually, when we moved out of our last property, I videoed the whole thing. And for me, that memory will stick forever, because once you're living in a property, you never actually appreciate how much you've done. Whereas when we took all our furniture out, the house was completely empty. It was literally like a new build, just without the bricks being new. And that was a huge achievement for me that I'll, never forget, and hopefully we might have again.
Love that. Rochelle, over to you. Last question.
3 words to describe the whole experience.
As I've used the word I've just figured out, rewarding. Yep. That's definitely one. Long, I guess, in terms of the time taken to get it all done. It is definitely a long process. And I guess for me it's just exciting. Seeing that kind of a build up of what was something that wasn't livable, becoming pretty much a dream home for us was really great.
Evie?
Exciting. I find the whole thing, very exciting. Satisfying, and I don't know if I can think of a third. Rewarding. I'm going to go with they're quite similar, but...
Well, you know what? I think one thing I've noticed after chatting to you guys is you don't seem flustered. You've never seemed flustered. You never seem like overly stressed, like, oh my God, I wish I never did this. That's really inspiring. Obviously, luck has played a huge part in this, right? I think it's worthwhile acknowledging that luck has played a huge part in this. But nevertheless, you've used that luck, and now you're parlaying it into another property to make the dream come true again. So it would have been very easy to sit on your laurels with that luck and say, yeah, we've got to where we want to be, and whatever happens. But you've parlayed that, and you've used the luck of the state, removing stamp duty to your advantage, which is a great thing. So well done, first of all. And let's find the applause. 1 second. Well done. Big inspirational stuff. And actually, I still don't know after having a chat with you if I've got the bottle to renovate my own property.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't know if I've got it in me. It's long is what puts me off.
I think that's the plan, anyway. I think that's the plan.
So I'd change one of my words to inspiring. I always feel inspired to
really
keep going. Yeah, like after we've done this one, we want our second property, and I feel inspired all the time to keep going, I guess.
Well, look, if you guys do continue being inspired, let's get together and you can renovate my property, and I'll pay you a little 0.5% fee. So, guys, that has been Before Our Friends Die, the renovation episode. And I've really enjoyed it. Rachel, how do you find it?
Yeah, man, it was a good experience, man.
Thanks for Jerome and Evie for joining us. We hope you really enjoyed it. By all means, if you need to get in touch with us, check out akhi&saltfish on Instagram, Twitter, and all social media platforms, as well as akhi&saltfish@gmail.com. Get in touch, ask us a few questions, and get to know us a little bit more. We're out. See you later. Take care.
Love.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.